All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block M Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network. This is a podcast for winners. Podcast for losers? That's down the road. Kick rocks. I am Jared Stormer of the Block M Podcast Network and maizenbrew.com. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate of the same place and time. Andy Bailey, he doesn't sleep on planes because he doesn't want to get incepted. How the hell are you, my friend?
I am better than good, buddy. I feel tremendous today. One of the best sports weekend I can ever remember. How are you?
I would have to agree with you, my friend. It's up there. There's a short list there. If you just take the week and extrapolate it to a sports week, it's right up there with the national championship and Rose Bowl. You know, like
Yep.
we're up there with the all-time best ones, any sports. All the Michigan teams still rolling here late into March. Chance for all of them to go into April, which I can't tell you the last time. Men's basketball, women's basketball, and hockey all playing into April. Women's basketball playing right now against Texas. We'll update you on that one. But you're totally right, man. This is about as good as it gets sports weekend-wise. We're here to talk about all of it, but these are the good times.
These are the good times indeed. Yeah, it's just there's so much to dive into. Even outside, I mean, Pistons getting some big wins, Red Wings deep in the hunt if you're into the Red Wings, Blackhawks lining up a nice little draft position for me and a few others. So like everything, stars are aligning.
Kevin McGonigal might be the best baseball player of all time for the Tigers. What a debut for that young man.
I mean, I'm glad he could take some time off from teaching at Hogwarts to come help the Tigers lineup. But hey, this is what we need.
Come on now. I'm glad you appreciated the Professor McGonigal. I'm like, it's right there, guys. Like, how are we not going to call this guy the professor?
There was just so many missed opportunities. People just tried to ignore it. It's like, no, embrace it. McGonigal is perfect. I mean, there's tons of ways we can play this. You know, we could dive into configuration, go deep. We can go anywhere.
Let's do a crisp 30 on Professor McGonigal and where she ranks in Hogwarts professors. Now, obviously, I've got Snape 30th, but I mean, you could make an argument he should be much higher.
McGonigal's first round value. Like, you can't pass her up, what she's going to do there. Especially like if we're that we have the Maggie Smith element, just the X factor, likability, captain. Got to go.
I'd like to put Lupin higher, but he doesn't have the longevity. One season in and out, but high numbers in one season there.
Some off the field issues as well.
Some off the field issues with Professor Lupin. Yeah, no, can't deny it. Can't deny it. Oh my God. Oh, that's so good, man. All right. We got a lot to get into. Let's touch the banner here. So cook on it, man. I know you wanted to talk about this. We didn't talk about it last week, the Jerry Hanlon tribute.
Yes. So Jerry Hanlon, former Michigan assistant coach, actually began his coaching career at Central Catholic, where your stepdad coaches now in 1957.
Nice.
The legend passed away this weekend at 96 years old. He stood on the sidelines for the Wolverines for 23 years, from 1969 to 1991, and is best known for his time coaching offensive line, where he developed 18 All-Americans. Additionally, he also helped coach on the defensive line during his tenure and at quarterback, where he helped develop Jim Harbaugh into an All-American at the position. He is the foundation upon which Michigan's offensive line tradition was built and is the greatest assistant in program history. And I would be remiss if we didn't just throw out an RIP coach for him this week.
Yeah, that's a great call. And what a resume, man. When you build a longevity like that and you have a career that spans that long and impact those many people's lives, certainly deserves a mention. So great call by you there. I'm sticking with football there. Let's talk about some recruiting starting to pick up for the Wolverines football team here. And one of the questions we had, not necessarily a concern, but a question was, what is recruiting going to look like for Kyle Whittingham and this staff? And I wouldn't say that those questions or concerns have been put to bed, but I think you can sleep a little bit easier now. Recruiting starting to pick up. It starts at the top with 2027 four-star defensive back Daryl Mattinson, 6'2", $170 out of Chicago. Also, since we last spoke, 3-star defensive back Maxwell Miles, also 6'2", $195. He's out of Vegas. Both commit to the Wolverines, start to build out the defensive backs there for the 2027 class. And then the most recent of the commits is 2027 4-star offensive tackle Sidney Rouleau, and 6'7", 270 out of Texas. So starting to get that footprint down in Texas. Yet another tackle to add to a very talented list of tackles already on this team. Great start for Whittingham and the staff.
A perfect start on two different fronts here. One, I love attacking the secondary right away because you're losing a lot of players next year. You're losing Zeke Berry, Jair Hill, Smith Snowden, Rod Moore. I think Bracey as well, the Memphis transfer. So you're losing those players. You need to replenish. You don't want the cupboard to go dry. You have some young talent on the roster, but you always need that pipeline staying full. And in terms of adding another offensive tackle, let Jim Harding cook. This is the foundation of this team. It always has been since Jerry Hanlon. This is how you build the team, man. I love getting a guy like this and committing to building through the trenches.
Yeah, and I think you can often tell a lot about a coach's philosophy by some of their early recruits. And the theme across the board here, size. Size
Yes.
in the defensive backs, both 6'2", and then Rouleau, an absolute monster at 6'7". 270 right now. Obviously, he'll need to put on a little bit of weight there to play tackle, but I mean, he's not going to be expected to come in and start right away. The tackle room is deep. These other guys, though, will come in and probably have a chance to compete. Like you said, just looking at the depth chart there with what's going on. I mean, Shamari Earl's expected to expand his role, but lot outgoing. So bringing some in to replenish the cupboard there was absolutely key. And you can see that they're going to value size in with their defensive back. So I'm excited by that.
And this aligns perfectly with what Kyle Whittingham has been selling us since he arrived in Ann Arbor. It was combining the Michigan blue chip recruiting with the Utah blue collar development. And I think this personifies that.
Yeah, absolutely. And props to Harding for going down into Texas, a region that Michigan's picked up some steam in the last couple years, but not really a hotbed for Michigan recruiting in general. So I always take note when you can go into Texas and steal some way. There's just so many Texas schools that they have to choose from there. I mean, not just talking Texas and Texas Tech and A&M, but the Baylors and such of the world. There's a lot of options. So to get him to come north is a big get for this team. So be interested to see over the next couple months how they round it out. What do they value? Where do they see needs on this roster? But offensive line, you got to bring in a couple of those guys every year. And you mentioned it with cornerbacks. Absolutely needed to bring in some more. Might need even more than that. Probably need some safeties in this as well. And wouldn't be surprised if one of these two guys, either Mattinson or Maxwell Miles, which is a great name,
Great name.
moves over to safety as well.
Yeah. And for once again, a further testament as well to the superstar front office that Whittingham has assembled at Michigan. I know it's a little bit under the radar because it's not as sexy as some of the other stories, but this front office in terms of player recruiting, identifying talent, and everything else from the general manager down is an all-star team.
Yeah, man, I'm absolutely with you there. Sticking with football, getting some spring practice nuggets. And, it's that time of the year where you're probably not going to hear too much that's going to blow your mind, but there is some interesting stuff coming out of there. I want to start here that OC Jason Beck says center Jake Guarnara has been standing out, been working at guard as well. Also mentioned Blake Frazier and Andrew Sprague as offensive line standouts, and Andrew Sprague getting reps at guard, which is something you and I did not think was going to be on the agenda. But here we go. That is a very large guard if that is indeed where he ends up.
Every spring transfer nugget you get just feels like somebody telling you this at a bar. Like you don't know if you should believe it, but you want to. Just, you know what? Another beer. I'm going to keep drinking until I really just buy into this. And you hear some of this stuff. It's like Sprague's playing at guard. It's like, is he? It's like, I'm not going to doubt him. I would love to see it. Jim Harding's the man to do it. But no matter what, it's fascinating conversation.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, it's like wife is calling. She's wondering why you're still at the Chili's. You're like, one more beer. Let's talk about Andrew Sprague, 6'7", playing at guard. I talked yourself into it after 4 or 5 beers. Absolutely.
Yeah, you get it. I mean, if you have a few small beers, get some Modelo's in you, like you could easily see this lining up. But I mean, regardless, he is taking reps there. Whether it's going to last or be a thing remains to be seen. But at practice, they're trying some things out, and I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much talent. A lot of it is at tackle, but they need to get their best 5 guys out there. Yep. We thought it might be Evan Link kicking inside, and maybe that still happens. It's early on. We still got fall camp as well. We'll see how this all shapes out. I think Link is a little bit shorter than Sprague, but still large men no matter what you do here. I mean, any of these tackles that we potentially kick in are going to be on the larger side for tackles in the Big Ten and in the country.
All right, flash depth chart. Who are the 5 starting offensive linemen against Western Michigan, left to right?
Andy Babs. We'll go there. I'll go Guarnera at center. So I'll come back to left guard, just kind of going.
I was putting my fingers up, hoping you go in order, but obviously I can't skip this one with the other one. So thank you for that.
You could. I'll go Frazier at right tackle. I'll go Link at guard, left guard, probably. Yeah, I'll go Link at left guard. And then that other guard position, man, very interesting. I think there's going to be a real battle there. If Sprague's working out there right now, that's certainly something to consider. Maybe I'll go Frazier right guard, Sprague right tackle.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how do you see it?
I'm not going to be like, you're wrong, you idiot. Very similar, but I'm just going to lean into the crazy here with the starts. I'm going to say Andrew Babalola and Blake Frazier at the guards, Jake Warner at center. Left guard, I think, is a very interesting battle. Nate Afobe and Evan Link. I think are going to be in there for a real heated race. I think Link's going to win it. And then at right guard, just get weird. We'll just say Sprague.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's where he's repping. They would know better than we would, if
I
that's
have a few
something
small
that
ones in me, so I'm all in.
yeah, I'm there for it, man. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, his size will win out, and it'll be Frazier or Link kicking in. But we'll see, man. I mean, I like that five talent wise, though. Andy
Yep.
Babs, I like that him and Frazier and Guarnara seem to be the three set in stone. Not too surprising there. I think those are your three best, and then you fill it in from there. But talent all over the field with this position group.
And again, we always reiterate the fact that it's easier to kick in from tackle to guard than to move a guard out the tackle.
Absolutely, which is why you see them really prioritizing tackles, and some of the best and biggest programs are doing this now. Load up on tackles, and if you have to move somebody and you can usually make that work. And it's not usually a disaster. I don't think Sprague would be a disaster at guard. It's just not his best fit.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, maybe it is. Maybe he's been, I don't know, out of position at right tackle. Who knows? We're gonna find out. But again,
Maybe.
with Harding, that's the guy to figure it out with.
Yep, absolutely. A couple other nuggets here. John Henry Daly progressing well in his recovery, expects to be full go by June 1st. Also, Rod Moore says he's as healthy as he's been since the injury. Had to have
Let's
another
go.
surgery to remove some scar tissue, but is feeling good. Also, talked about just the culture change within the program. Some really good nuggets from that interview if you haven't checked that out.
Yeah, I love the commitment to the weight room, the discipline, saying it's much more an accountability type of culture, very similar to when Harbaugh was in town.
Yeah, well, probably helps when your coach isn't knee deep in the DMs of an OnlyFans model. So the bar was low as
The
far
bar
as improving the
low.
culture. Bar was in hell, but we're out of hell. We're out of hell now. Michigan hockey, my friend. Michigan hockey. Come on now. The times are good and the wagons are rolling. Talk me through it.
Speaking of being out of hell, Michigan hockey is back in the Frozen Four for the 22, 23, 24, fourth time in 5 years, third time already under Brandon Dorado, which is an insane sentence to say. Michigan went to three Frozen Fours total between 2009 and 2022. And since Dorado was promoted to that BS interim tag for a year, Michigan has been to three Frozen Fours since 2023. One of the hottest periods that you can ever remember across the sport, even diving deep into the history, like what he's done in a short period of time after taking the dip year last year and completely resetting expectations, overhauling his roster, which I was very critical of in the offseason. And he was right the whole time. He was right.
Man, and producer Tony brought this up when we were talking off air that the Michigan coaching is just in an incredible spot across all the major sports that we cover here. Arguably the best it's been. I mean, I would take Harbaugh over Whittingham. Whittingham, Dusty May, Narado, and then Kim Barnes-Arico. That's a murderer's row of coaches at Michigan for the sports that we like to talk about on this podcast.
Absolutely. And over the weekend, I should mention Michigan beat Bentley 5-1, dominated that game, and then survived Minnesota Duluth 4-3. Had a 3-0 lead, got a little tight in the end there. A goalie Jack Ivankovic was named the most outstanding player. TJ Hughes,
Stud.
Garrett Shifsky, and Ben Robertson were named to the all-region team. Very similar to Michigan basketball, where the most outstanding player was a little bit predictable, with it being Yaxel Lindeborg and being Jack Ivankovic. But the other Wolverines were a little more surprising on there with some of the names. Like you weren't expecting a Shifsky or a Robertson. Very similar to you weren't expecting a
I
Cadeau
was.
and a Roddy Gale. You were. Shifsky's your boy. But like you weren't expecting like a Robo or a Shifsky to get on the team, and they did because they just raised their level of play. And the craziest stat of all is Brandon Dorado has never been to the NCAA tournament and not made the Frozen Four.
It's insane, man. And yeah, like what you were saying there with some of the guys that are being mentioned for all region, that speaks to Narado's coaching as well. And, some of the comments he was making off in the offseason
Yeah.
about like what this team was and what the makeup was going to be of this team. It was like, well, are there any stars, missed out on some guys that were really high profile recruits, but seemed to really like this team in the offseason. And you can see why, man. Deep, they play together, they can rotate guys, keep bodies fresh. And then when you have a guy in between the pipes like Ivan Kovic, like you can make deep runs, man. And like, could this team win it all? Like what is the path in front of them look like?
So the two guys he missed out on that you were alluding to in the offseason, Porter Martone and Gavin McKenna, their seasons are already done.
Done.
So really goes to building this team just deep with depth throughout the lines as you talked about. Yeah, this team absolutely can win it all. I mean, came in as the number one overall seed, has to go through a murderer's row. Like, it does not get easy. It's basically just like running through potentially the three best teams in the NCHC, which is the SEC of hockey, more or less. So beat Minnesota Duluth. It was a fun little revenge game too, because that's the team that beat Michigan in the 2011 national championship game. So, all right, check that box. Up next is Denver. Denver looks like a wagon. They've won 2 of the last 4 national championships. David Carl's arguably the best coach in the sport, and it was Denver who eliminated Michigan in the Frozen Four in 2022 in overtime when Michigan had the Big Four on their team, 4 of the top 5 picks in the NHL draft. So a little more revenge there. If they get through Denver, which they play not this week, but next week on Thursday, I believe 5:30, then they're going to play the winner of Wisconsin and North Dakota. Wisconsin could win 5-1 or they could lose 5-1, and it wouldn't surprise me. That's how volatile they've been this season. But I think it's going to be North Dakota, who is equally terrifying, also from the NCHC. And just another team that Michigan, I mean, they might be wanting some revenge against Michigan because Michigan knocked Nodak out 2 years ago in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. So a lot of fascinating storylines going up and down. Jaden Perron transferred from North Dakota, playing for Michigan now. So there's another angle there. But like, all these teams have something in common, and that is depth, and that is goaltending.
Yeah, a couple things there I wanted to follow up on. I live in Denver, and DU, which has been a wagon, like this isn't
Yes.
some new thing.
Oh,
DU is often quite good. You would not even know they had a hockey team out here. I don't see DU hats, hoodies. No one talks about it. They're not played on the bar. They will play a rerun of a Broncos game over the DU hockey game out here in Denver. They do not care. I'm
how
telling you
close
that
is
much.
Loveland? That's where they are.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not it's not that far. I mean, the Denver metro area, pretty much everything is pretty close, and then you're basically either in Nebraska or the Rocky Mountains, so
I only know
everything's kinda
Loveland is
centralized.
I only know Loveland as being 2 spaces away from Colston, so I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but I mean, everything you're within an hour to everything major here in Colorado. But and then the other piece you said they're the SEC of college hockey. Do we need to revisit that? Do we need to have a new comp now? Because what are you referring to? The SEC of football? Like
It's
they haven't
yeah,
won
I
a
would say
national title in a while.
yeah, I would say honestly, it's like the Big Ten football now, more or less. But they've won
Yeah.
5 of the last 7 national championships. But I say SEC because of that extended run they had in the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2010s. So
No,
it's
no,
more
I get it.
yeah, it's more or less like that, but it's just like any team from that conference can win it. It's deadly every year. And but again, maybe I should say Big Ten now, because you look at the national championships in football, you look at half of the Final Four, and you look at half of the Frozen Four. Big Ten.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's kinda like you talking about the best actors and you just throw Tom Hanks in there, like, "Is Tom Hanks one of the top 5 anymore?" Like, a couple guys may have passed him.
It's true. No, it's a great point, but it is really funny how the Frozen Four is 2 Big Ten teams, 2 NCHC teams.
Yeah, no doubt about it, an absolute wagon of a conference there. So, women's basketball, like we mentioned, playing Texas right now. We'll give you some updates throughout
Not
this
going well.
podcast. Yeah, this is about where you expected things to end for this women's basketball team. Like we've said on this podcast before, I'm not the biggest women's basketball fan. I'm kind of new to the sport, so picking it up, and it's different than men's basketball in the sense that the Cinderella story is a little less common. You can kind of map out the talent a little bit more. Now that gap is closing, as you've mentioned here on this podcast, but Texas is where you were like, we're going to run into a buzzsaw here.
Yeah, the women right now are down 22-9, almost at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
No, not the end of the game. It was very similar against UConn as well, so they can make a comeback. The Michigan women have been a second half team all this tournament, but we should mention how they got here a little bit. Just absolutely smoked Louisville in the Sweet 16 game to tie a program record for wins in a season and to tie their best finish ever in a season, the Elite Eight, which they did just a few years ago with Nas Hillman. So KBA living up to the billing once again. And in that Louisville game, they had an 18-0 run to finish the first half, a 20, I think it was 20 or 21 run to end the third quarter. So just put belt to ass in the second half of that game. Massive win for them. Massive win to beat Louisville, who's been a thorn in our side for several years now. So that was a great step. They're playing with house money. Like everyone, myself included, thought it was going to run into the end of the line here. Texas with Madison Booker just loaded up. They're a legitimate national title threat, a team that could knock off UConn. So just getting here is such a feat for this team, and they are positioned so well for the future. Not only the sophomores, but players like BQD, Brooks Coors Daniels, and Tayala Del Foss. Like, they have a lot of talent on this team, and KBA has been so Dusty may like in the portal with identifying right fits for their system and what they want to be defensively and how they want to pay, like spread the floor out. That they have this thing up and running, man. Like if they're going to win a national championship next year or the year after, they are in pole position.
Absolutely. They'll be considered one of the favorites with Swords and Olson coming back. They were both huge against Louisville. You had 19 from Olson. Swords had 16 there. It's crazy to look at the shot distribution: 19 shot attempts from Olson, 14 from Swords. And then the next closest, a bunch of people tied at 5 attempts. Like they know where their bread is buttered. Delphos was huge in that game, shoot 4 of 5 in that one with eight rebounds, playing big down
Mila
there.
Hollow
But
7 assists too.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's a well-rounded team, but built around 2 stars and some really, really quality depth, and they'll be great again next year, man. So hoping they can come back and make this tight and make Texas sweat a little bit. But like you said, this is house money. This is a team whose best basketball is still in front of them.
Exactly.
All right, man. Last bit here as we move into men's basketball, which will be the remainder of this podcast, because brother, we're in the Final Four. Seems as though that's worth talking about. Before we get into the games that we witnessed, as well as the upcoming game against Arizona, already the hits are coming for next year. Getting good news in that Trey McKinney and Elliot Cadeau, the backcourt is back, baby, running it back next year. And what a start to next year's team already. Now, we're not going to be looking ahead to next year while there remains some work to be done, putting it lightly, with this current season. But man, that's a hell of a start to next year. Not really surprised about McKinney. Not really surprised about Cadeau either. Not quite an NBA player.
Mhm.
Definitely not an NBA player with his
Yeah.
size. But, the transfer portal always looms, and he's made a real name for himself in this tournament run. But man, that's a hell of a start.
Absolutely. Like getting your backcourt solidified like that, especially if LJ Kaysen does or doesn't come back next year with his rehabilitation, everything going on there. This is a nice piece to have. Like, because we know Dusty can recruit at any position and get the right pieces in, but he really knows how to recruit bigs. Like Vlad Golden, Danny Wolf, Adai Mara, Merez Johnson, all check the boxes. So, like, if you need a pick, have a position in need, if I can get my words out, big is a good place to be with having Dusty May as your coach.
Absolutely. And I think that Mojo should come back for one more year. I mean, I
I think both
really
should, to be honest.
both need more seasoning. Neither one is going to go in and be a high impact guy year one in the NBA, and much weaker draft class next year than this upcoming class. So both could go really high. And I mean, once you get past like pick 12, you're talking like $1 million a year per
Yeah.
pick. So, I mean, it actually financially could make sense to, I mean, Mojo, the highest I could see Mojo going to be like 22, 25.
Yeah.
Mara probably in that same range, although he could rise
He
just
could go a little bit
because
higher. Yeah. 7
at
3. Yeah.
7-3 shot blocker, there's always a need for that, and someone will happily stash him on their G League team for a year while he develops. But Mojo coming back next year, and then that's a hell of a core. Now, it's very difficult to do back-to-back Final Fours. I mean, look at what happened to Florida last year after their
Mhm.
championship. Pretty sure a lot of these champions fail to reach the Sweet 16 next year. But, we'll see what happens with this Michigan team down the stretch. But, I mean, with Dusty May, with his ability to recruit, and then with McKinney and Cadeau, the leadership of Cadeau, McKinney getting great experience in this tournament run, probably getting more minutes with Kaysen out, if you want a silver lining there. I think that's a hell of an offensive punch that's going to be coming back. And knock on wood, maybe you get Mojo as well, and we're off and running, baby. Get some Oscar Goodman in there. Why not?
And I mean, you have the test case in Yaxel Lindeborg for improvement and development. Like he had to
Hmm.
completely change the way he played basketball under Dusty May compared to how he was used at UAB. And he's just shining in this role. And like you could develop at Michigan, be the big man on campus. Also, like I feel like people always often forget this. College is fun.
Yeah,
College is a
I don't forget
great.
it.
It's like, do you want to go play for the Stockton Kings in the G League? Is that what you want to do for a year and develop there? Or do you want another year playing at Michigan where you're the big man on campus, making another Final Four run? I think that sounds a lot more fun.
Well, and now you're getting paid $3.5 million. So I mean,
Yep.
if you go 27th, like it's not that big of a financial difference. And
No.
if we really want Mojo to come back, I'll bet we can find the money to bring Mojo back. So
Yeah.
it's a real conversation. I'd be very interested to see how it goes. My official prediction: Mojo back, Mara to the draft would be
I
how I
agree.
see it
I
shaking
think
out.
so
So
too. Yep.
yeah. All right, brother. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, some basketball to talk about, if you will. We will be back right after this. All right, we are back. We are righteous men. College basketball, hell, college sports are very good, just continuing to play deep into March. We got chances to go into April with all of the auxiliary wagons, as we sometimes call them on this podcast. I don't know how auxiliary this men's basketball team is anymore. This is a wagoon, my friend, after one of the most dominant victories I can ever remember seeing for any team that I've ever covered in highly competitive tournament play. Destroyed Tennessee, really wasn't that close against Alabama in the Sweet 16. The Elite Eight was an absolute wipeout. Now they move on to the Final Four. Nets have been cut down. It's Arizona. That's going to be, when is it? Is it Friday against Arizona?
Saturday,
Saturday
Monday.
against Arizona. Yeah, Saturday against Arizona. Major matchup that we'll certainly spend some time on here. But let's go through this chronologically, man. Let's start with that Sweet 16 win over Bama. What'd you see in that one?
I saw King Yaxel and his three guards showing out. That's what I
King.
saw at this game. It was Michigan played Bama's game in the first half, but in the second half, it was maybe it was at that point, it was the best Michigan basketball I've seen all season on both ends of the court. They held Alabama to a season low 28 second half points. It was tremendous to watch, and I was shocked that it didn't come from the bigs on the inside. It came from the perimeter.
Yes, it certainly did. It was a bit of a tough game for everyone not named Yaxel, Roddy, Trey, or Cadeau, which I get it. You know, there's only 5 guys on the court. That's a decent amount, but everyone else kind of had a no-show.
Yeah.
Speaking specifically to Mojo and Mara in that one, who really didn't do much, and I thought they would have to be very involved in this one in order to get the win. Nonetheless, Michigan gets the win 90-77. Wasn't even really that close. Michigan got a lead in the second half, never relinquished it, kind of kept them at arm's length there. I want to start here. Yaxel Lendenborg might actually just be a god. So it's some of the best basketball that I've ever seen played. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. It's the best a Michigan player has ever played since Trey Burke. I think I'm ready to say he's more impactful than Burke. Now, is he better
Ooh.
pound for pound? I don't know. But his ability to control the game on both sides of the ball, and Trey Burke was a good defender. Trey Burke was also 6 foot.
Mhm.
Yaxel Lendenborg is 6'9". Like Yaxel Lendenborg can absolutely dominate a game, pick a side of the ball. He can be the best offensive player. He's the best offensive player left in this tournament. I think he's been better than a lot of the guys that are projected to go above him in this NBA draft. He's a leader. The moment is never too big. You have the stats for what he's done in this tournament. It's otherworldly. It doesn't make sense. It's borderline stupid at times. It's next level stuff, man. That's why I like it. Yaxel, King Yaxel, and his guards. Gods raise the alarm. It's been incredible to watch.
He's better than Burke, in my opinion, because of
He
what he
is.
brings on two-way ability. Like, he's giving you both ends of the court at a high level. When you need him to pick up a point guard in college basketball, he can do it and make their life hell. He can guard the 5. We saw more chase down blocks, which is some of our favorite things all season long. He just knows how to play basketball and fit in and find his role. Like, if he wanted to average 25 points a game this season, he could have done it. But instead, he just like flows in a game. He goes in, he goes out, and some of that he has to overcome a little bit. But I thought a nice wrinkle in the second half is we saw Point Yaxel with Cadeau off the ball, which is very sneaky because Cadeau's used to playing off the ball from his 2 years at North Carolina. He was forced to do that with RJ Davis being so ball dominant. So he knows how to flow and get into those shot windows as well. So each of them find their own way in this like variation derivative offense when they need to just change things around a little bit just to get different looks. It starts with Yaxel, but it trickles out to everybody else doing their part and being malleable as well.
Dude, it's insane stuff what's happening right now. So he finishes against Alabama with 23 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. In doing so, became the third player since 1985 expansion to put up 20, 10, and 7 in the Sweet 16 or later, joining some noteworthy names, Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade. And every time I read a stat about this guy now, it's getting to the point where it's like first player to do this since Bumpy Mills Johnson did it in the 1914 season. And it's like, what is happening here?
Yeah, it's getting scary. Like, it's hard to keep coming up with adjectives like to describe it. And his energy's infectious. Like, you see it when they're in the press and he's doing it. Everybody's stepping up. Like in the second half of the Alabama game, everybody on this team's blocking shots. Elliot Cadeau blocked a shot in the second half.
Sure
Like,
did.
the energy is infectious. It spreads throughout and like it all centers back to him. And like also, I mean, it kind of centers back to Roddy Gale a little bit because they dropped this nugget in one of the pre-games. When Yaxel arrived on campus, Roddy Gale ordered a UAB Yaxel Lindenborg jersey and started wearing it around. And then
Love it.
Yaxel went to the store and bought a Roddy Gale jersey. And now that's kind of become the thing of like uplifting your teammates around. Yaxel's the perfect person to center a team around that's really team first this late in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, man. And it's interesting with these tournament runs because the nation starts to look at your team, people that have never watched any college basketball up until now. So there's heroes, there's villains, you remember the Loyola sister Jean or
Who
whatever,
we beat.
like who we have absolutely no sympathy for that either. Did
Sorry. Apologies to Sister Jean. Nice lady, but so we have to beat you.
We had to do it. But you start to figure out like who these guys are in the stories and people start to kind of to cue in on that. And people are like, oh, he's immature. Like you're 23 out there, like basically a 30-year-old man. Like he's a normal senior age, like still a young man. And if you interview him, if you ask him about like in the interviews, he's very mature. He's having fun on the sidelines doing the belt to ass thing. Like there's just a microscope on us now. I am a huge Axel Lendenborg fan. I think that he's
Huge.
awesome on the court, off the court. He's the best transfer in Michigan history. He's the most impactful transfer in Michigan history. And when your best player gives a shit more than anyone else on the team, which he did in that Alabama game, it was a little lackadaisical there from some of the other guys, particularly in the first half. He's out there diving for loose balls with 15 points.
Yep.
He's out there blocking shots. He's out there like guarding LeBaron Phelan, who's going to be an NBA guard
Yes, he
and
is.
doing very serviceable. Like that means something. That's a rare combination when your best player also gives a damn the most and is one of the players that tries the hardest. That's special territory there.
Well, you as a Pistons fan understand this as well as anybody because that's Cade Cunningham.
Cade Cunningham
That's
is a
how it
good
is.
example.
Like he's a player, like not in terms of skill or anything like that, but just in terms of how much he care. His care factor is so high. And that's one of the things you're hearing in the NFL draft season right now. What's their care factor? How much do they want this? And that's been one of the biggest knocks against Kansas's Darren Peterson entering this draft cycle.
Fair.
Now, with that in mind, you're way more locked into the NBA than I am. How high would you draft Yaxel Lindenborg? I know you're going to be biased, but you do a great job separating.
Yeah, I would say as high as 9.
Okay.
I think that like depends on who the team is. Now there's some good teams that are going to be up around that range. Like OKC has a couple, and that's horrifying.
Oh God,
I
stop.
don't necessarily want that. The Thunder have 3
Yeah.
picks, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all shakes out, but like very likely landing spot, and he could come in and just immediately run their second unit and fit hand in glove. But here's the thing about Yaxel Lendenborg: he's going to fit anywhere. There is not a team in the NBA, all 30 could use Yaxel Lendenborg because it's offense, defense, it's playmaking. The shooting has really come around. You've got those stats that if you've got those handy about what his shooting has looked like here, it's unreal.
Yeah, we're going to touch on those after the after the Tennessee game about where he's going. But yeah, I'm with you. I think in that second class, like there's a second class in this draft. Like there's a drop off around 4 or 5. He's right in that mix for me, man. Like depending on what you want, like you bring this guy in, he knows how to be a professional. He's going to play this exact same role. He's going to be efficient and he's going to give you something on both ends of the court. And that's exceptionally rare.
Yeah, and the only reason it's 9 and not 5 is because of the age. And people are like, well, we know what he is. Like these other guys, like there could be anything inside the mystery box. It could be a boat. Like
that's all it is. He's 23. He's not 30. It's like, oh man, we're only going to get 10 years of this guy. That sucks. What are we talking about? It gets so ridiculous sometimes.
It's unreal, man. Last bit on the Alabama win. With that win, it is the most wins by a men's basketball team in history. Seems worth mentioning. And we'll get into it here after the Tennessee conversation about where we kind of rank this team historically. But there is no question by any metric, we are in that historic top tier level of teams in Michigan history.
Absolutely. And the last 2 notes on this game from me are Mara officially set the block record, the best shot blocking season in Michigan program history. Elliot Cadeau drew 9 fouls in this game.
Insane. Crafty. Not my favorite style, but the way he does it isn't like SGA foul baiting. It's more like crafty, like he can draw those hook and holds, which he's drawn a lot of in this tournament.
He is so he has such a high effort on defense. He understands his limitations athletically, defensively, but he moves around and knows where he's supposed to be. And then is just such a menace. Like if you try to back him down, he's going to bait you into a foul. He just knows how to play the game so well. So like that adds an element to his game to make guards and other players more hesitant. And he's not afraid to get matched up with bigs when he knows he has help backside. And I think it's going to be a big factor against Arizona.
Yeah, you were early on it saying he's the best Michigan point guard since Burke. I was a little hesitant there, but knowing he's coming back next year with this run, I'm there now
It's
because
yeah.
now, I mean, there's a whole nother year of this. He's going to put up crazy numbers next year. Now your case is pretty rock solid.
He's like Walton was the one he was like kind of back and forth with. And if maybe you want some more Derek Walton, some more shot making, I understand that argument, but just like what Cadeau brings from settling people down. And now that he's just drifting into a shooting guard role, playing next to LJ, playing next to Trey McKinney, doing what he needs to do in any situation, just really maybe like his game on both sides.
Yeah, and I think Trey Donaldson, if you switched places, Trey Donaldson would also be very good on this team, but
Mm.
now it's not quite. I think he's
He's just not the
separated.
creator that Elliott is. Like when Elliott
Yeah.
Cadeau, one of his best skills, it reminds me of like Luca a little bit, where like he can get somebody on his hip at the foul line and have three people around him, but be in complete control. And then he
Yeah.
finds somebody and gets an open shot. Like that's such an underrated skill, especially as a point guard.
Yeah, they call it the Nash dribble where you kinda dribble there, like, under the basket, but
Yep.
you're still well in control. You're looking for guys to cut. You're looking for shooters out on the wing. Despite being 6 foot, you can see the court like that.
Yeah.
It's very impressive stuff, man. Very impressive stuff. I've really enjoyed the Elliot Cadeau experience. All right, time to talk about one of the greater belt to ass experiences I've ever witnessed in a competitive game as Michigan absolutely dominates Tennessee. And, yeah, enjoy the offseason SEC basketball. It's been great to know you taking down Alabama and Tennessee. Big Ten remains the premier conference. This one was never close, brother. I think it was 15-16 was the closest that it ever really was. And there was like 10 and a half minutes left in the first half. And then after that, you look up and Michigan's up 20, never looked back. I bet the second half spread. And I'm like, oh no, we're up like 28 in the first half. There's no way we're gonna like go up 5 in the second half. Still won the second half too. Did not let up. Yaxel Lendenborg's playing deep into this game. This team wanted this one. They were not satisfied being up 20. Belt to ass.
I mean, that's putting it mildly with what we witnessed in this one. It was the first 30-point Elite Eight win since Cincinnati in 1992. Michigan became the sixth school ever to score over 90 points in 4 games in the same tournament. Yaxel had not scored over 20 or more points in back-to-back games this season entering this weekend. He has now scored 25, 23, and 27 points in the last 3 games while shooting 63% from the field, 58% from 3, while adding 8 boards and 4 assists per game en route to being named most outstanding player in the region.
If he doesn't win the Naismith, now I know it's more like a regular season award, but like, come on now. You're watching, you're seeing what he's doing. Those are the stupidest numbers that I've ever heard. 60% of your threes are going in. 63% of all shots are going in. He's also been incredible on defense. He's 6'9", dude.
Yes.
And it's unbelievable. And you feel all 6'9" of it when he's out there. Like he can credibly guard centers. It is, I mean, I just don't have really the vocabulary. I don't have the lexicon to describe what I've been seeing with Yaxel. It's the most dominant performance from any player I've ever seen wear the uniform on the basketball court. I mean, I wanted to pose this question to you because now there's some real 2023 national championship discussion about like best teams that we've covered, best teams that we've seen. This team is now in that discussion along with the Trey Burke national championship team as well. I think this team is better than the Trey Burke team. Personally, I think the field has been deeper than what we had to get through in the Trey Burke year. I mean, just look at some of the NBA players that we've gone up against. Look at the Big Ten this year. Look at how far the Big Ten made it. And then you talk about like some of the the metrics that Michigan was winning by, the most wins in program history there. Is Yaxel Lendenborg the most dominant, impactful single player of anybody we've ever covered? Just talking one player, because I mean that 2023 team, incredible. But was it just a JJ McCarthy team? It wasn't just a Blake Corum team,
It's exactly. It's right up there, man. It's right up there. And like in terms of basketball, it's like all conversations start with Glenn Rice because he averaged 32 points a game en route to a national championship. Got it done. Like a little bit before our time, but right there. But that's the air he's reaching right now because I read you the numbers already. He's slowly just creeping up into that realm. And like, I think after the Purdue game, it just really just awoken something inside of him, like how fragile everything is. And this team has just taken it to another level. And very similar to that 89 team who, lost their head coach and everything that happened there. It's just like it changed something in them. And Rice just went to a different level and became just this superstar alien. And that's very similar to what we're getting from Yaxel right now. But he's not doing it in an inefficient way. That's the craziest thing about this. He's not
No.
going out there and shooting. He's not like it's not Bam Adebayo 83-point game stuff. Like, no, it's none of that. Like, it's all very efficient, very comfortable. He didn't leave the game against Tennessee until was it 5 minutes left, and then he came back in the game as well. So like he's on the court for all of this, and this goes back to how it's been all season though. While he's like played some like Dusty's been very smart with his substitution patterns in the tournament in Las Vegas. No player played over 30 minutes in a game. All of that dates back. So now you have Yaxel just positioned to launch into another level to close the season.
I'm almost ready to get there. The only reason I won't go fully there is because there can only be 5 players on a court at a time
Yeah.
in college basketball. Like it's a little tougher to quantify that because if you took Yaxel Lendenborg off of this team, yeah, we're not in the Final Four. I can pretty clearly say that. Like, I mean, you could tell me there's some other transfer that's filling in and maybe some other guys pick up the mantle. He is so important to this team. He's out there doing it all against Tennessee, 27 points on 10 and 19, 33% from three, hit 3 threes. He was pretty good from the line, although the team in general has not been the best from the line. If you wanted to find an Achilles heel, maybe that's where you go. 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. That is filling up the stat sheet. The eye test matched it. He was all over the court. Clearly the best player on the floor against Alabama and Tennessee. Actually, in every game in this tournament, he's been very clearly the best player on the floor. I know we're spending a lot of time on Yaxel, but it is special, special stuff that we're seeing here. And I'll go ahead and say it, man. Like JJ McCarthy's best games, like, man, that guy's got something. I don't know that JJ McCarthy, like, what would be the equivalent of what he's done in this run? Would that be completing 80% of your passes?
It's
4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, it's a monster game to try and equate that.
It would be his Michigan State game from
That's the one.
2023. So
Yeah,
in that game, JJ was 21 to 27, 287, 4 tuds. So that would be the
that's the
comp.
comp.
Or if you want to go on the ice, it's Adam Fantilli in that
There you go.
2023 season, winning the Hobie Baker Award, hockey's Heisman, and carrying a team that really did not have the talent developed yet to make it as far as they did. It's very similar to that, where he just puts the team on his back. He's the best player all season and takes him to this level. But now it's still difficult because Yaxel's doing it on both ends. So it's like if JJ McCarthy was a good quarterback, but also played some defensive back, something like
Right.
that. Like that's the kind of rare air we're in here. But to spread the love around a little bit, I mean, we talked about Roddy Gale in the other game against Alabama. He's all tournament. He's all region. So is Elliot Cadeau. It was those 3 that were all region, along with Colin Gillespie from Tennessee and Philon from Alabama. It wasn't Mara. It wasn't Merez Johnson. It's like, if you told me that before the tournament started, I thought we would have been knocked out.
Dude, we needed Roddy Gale against Alabama. Things
Yeah.
were getting a little stale there. Against Alabama, Roddy Gale, 6 of 10, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks. Really felt it, too. March Roddy, very real thing,
His
man. His
putback dunk
energy.
against Tennessee, brother.
Whoo-wee, against Tennessee, not to be outdone, a little bit less in the scoring column, but he had 8 points on 3 of 4 shooting, 5 rebounds and assists, 2 blocks. Once again, I mean,
Yes.
really putting it on the defensive side of the ball as well. And then one of the nastier putbacks you're going to see. Infectious team guy, great glue guy who can raise his level in tournament play, and he has done so. Glad you brought up March Roddy. I was not admittedly a big Roddy Gale guy last year, fully aboard. Fully aboard. And like his performance in March last year kind of started that, but now it's really pushed over into this year. And I'm like, dude, if the lights get brighter and you get better, you're my kind of guy.
He's like, again, like Vinny Johnson was the microwave, like Roddy Gale is the air fryer. He heats up at the right time. He was miscast last year. We all thought he was going to be the second best player on the team. He kept trying to force it. He seems so comfortable in his own skin this year, just being the ultimate glue guy on both ends of the court. Very similar to Yaxel, but at a smaller scale, just filling in where he's needed with just gritty plays in the paint, doing all the little stuff, knocking down open threes, being a menace on defense who blocks a lot of shots for a guard has just been so valuable to what this team's doing, especially in the absence of LJ Kaysen.
Yeah, I think he outpaced Mara in blocks in those 2 games. I mean, very impressive at his
Yeah.
height there. Also wanna talk about Morez Johnson Jr., who had a bit of a bounce back against Tennessee. On 3 field goal attempts, he managed 12 points. That's because he was 8 of 11 from the line. His physicality against Tennessee really showed up, and I was great to see that because you know what? Maybe your shot's not falling, maybe you don't
Yep.
have it right now. I really think he needs another year of seasoning just for some of the things like ball handling, passing out of double teams, some of the less sexy stuff that you need to do as a forward in the NBA. But if you don't have that stuff going, be physical. You're a
Yep.
large human being, man, and he was that against Tennessee. So it's good to see him come back and be like, all right, you know what, maybe all of my game isn't working right now, but we're going to be a big MFer down there in the paint.
Exactly, and that's just Michigan's going to need Marez Johnson and a Mora at their best level to beat Arizona. So that was
Yeah.
a good way to start shaking a little bit of rust off, get moving. Both of them had some moments against Tennessee where it's okay, now they're getting back in the rhythm a little bit. It's kind of a good tune-up game because Tennessee, the best offensive rebounding team in the country, partially because they foul the hell out of people in the paint,
Yeah.
but like a nice warm-up for what they're about to face on the front lines against Arizona in the Final Four.
And it was getting a little chippy in this game. I mean, when you're up
I loved
30, it
it.
was kind of like, can this game get over? And then
Just don't get
Tennessee,
hurt. Just don't get hurt.
yeah, don't get hurt. Tennessee kind of like, do we want to be out here anymore? Starting
We
some
got some
fights.
May minutes late.
Yeah, Charlie May outscored Fears, Jeremy Fears in the Elite Eight. Love to see it. Love to hate on Jeremy Fears. Yeah, it was outstanding stuff. It was an okay Mara game. I don't like the 4 turnovers and some of the stuff where he gets the ball
Yep.
down and down low. I think he's a great passer. Needs to be a little bit better about knowing when to make that pass and how
Yep.
long to hold on to the ball. He's got that kind of Hunter Dickinson, like opposite shoulder turn push shot. I'd like to see him get a little better with that, man. I think it would make some sense for him to come back for another year because if he had the Kaufman Wren push shot, he'd be the most unstoppable player in the country.
And
Like if
again,
he had that shot,
even if he just has that little midi, that little jumper right there at
mm-hmm.
the foul line, he has the stroke, which makes you like very like encouraged that he can
Hit
continue to
two
develop
threes
as a
in
shooter.
this.
Hit a three, his foul shooting's developing. But like it also should be mentioned, although it's not a quantifiable stat, look at the paint points in these games. Like sometimes, like whether they're scoring or not, like he is turning away so many shots. Alabama only had 20 in the paint in that game. Tennessee, Ament looked terrified to go inside. Anytime you went in there, you're either getting blocked, you're getting pushed around. That physicality, when it's just sometimes just chasing a guard out and forcing a bad shot, stuff like that is the Mara and Marez factor.
Yeah, you were right. 1 3-pointer, not 2 3-pointers. Correct myself there. Yeah, it's a little bit of the Wembenyama thing where it's like you change the geometry
Yes.
of guards driving into the paint. It's like normally I would go up for a floater, I would try and take this in, but like this guy does not need to jump at all to contest this shot. That changes the geometry of the court. And man, it's going to be huge that both of these guys have better games than they did against Tennessee and Bama. A little better against Tennessee for sure. The whole team as a whole was a little bit better against Tennessee, but those two in particular, Adaimara and Morris Johnson, need to bring it against Tennessee or against Arizona, who does a lot of their work in the paint.
I think one of the most impressive things to kind of put a bow on the Tennessee game is that Mara was in foul trouble early and that
Yes,
Michigan really went on a big run with he and Johnson on the bench, and they still tied Tennessee in rebounding for the game.
it's
That's a
crazy, man.
testament to the depth of the team.
And how big the team is.
Yes.
It's like because I mean, when we're starting all of our guys, Axel Lindenberg's playing the 3 when we have our ideal lineup out there. That is disgusting. There are not many 6'9" small forwards in the NBA,
No.
let alone in college. That doesn't really happen.
No.
So it's a large team, and we need to lean into it. We absolutely need to lean into it. And there's other ways we can win, but I think that's how Michigan would prefer to win, is being a large team that makes it very difficult for you to score in the paint, contests every shot, and then has a multitude of ways to get their own points in the paint as well. So great win against Tennessee. Stress-free Sunday for us. How nice was that?
And you hang a banner. You hang a banner for
Hang a
Final
banner.
Fours. We'll see if it's the last banner, but no matter what, this team is hanging one at the end of the year.
And most wins by any Michigan men's basketball team in history.
Yes.
If it were to end against Arizona, this is the kind of season you still talk about. If
Yep.
this is as far as it gets, you and I will look back on this fondly. We will talk about how great of a run this was, how dominant of a team it was. Are we done? Are we satisfied? Is there no more hunger in our guts? That is a lie. the hunger remains, and I'm hungry for another win. I'm hungry for a title. We would get to potentially, my friend, I texted you about this, in our lifetimes, see a national championship in football and basketball, see the best football team and basketball team in program history. And this thing's been around since they were basically riding horseback to the stadiums. I mean, the Michigan program has serious history, and you and I have only been podcasting for a decade, and we have a chance to see the best in both of the two major sports. And hell, throw hockey in there
Hockey,
too.
yeah, I was gonna say throw hockey in there. The women are not far behind, man. It's like it's truly the good times. Like you have to embrace these, really live in the moment with these games because like soon enough, this team's not going to be here anymore. And Yaxel Lendenborg's no longer going to be a Michigan Wolverine, which makes me sad. So you have to appreciate these times, whether this game's the last or we got two more. Got to enjoy them.
Absolutely, man. So it is going to be Arizona, exactly like we were predicting when we filled
Yep.
out our brackets. This is where I had them going. I have them going all the way in my bracket because
Damn
what are we
right.
doing here? What are we doing here? But it is going to be Arizona on Saturday, 6:49 p.m. on TBS, because why not? 6:49 tip off. That makes perfect sense there. Michigan is favored by 1.5 in this one. That really goes to show how people have taken stock of what Michigan has been doing, because I don't think that would have been the case coming into the tournament. I think Arizona was widely considered the favorite coming in. Michigan may have moved ahead there. Now, does that mean anything? No, I prefer being the underdog, but nonetheless, like, people are taking stock.
Yeah, and it was weird because when the line came out, Arizona was the favorite on DraftKings by 1.5, and Michigan was the favorite on FanDuel by 1.5. And you don't normally see a discrepancy between the two major books like that. So things kind of evened out with Michigan settling into being the favorite, but Michigan's been more dominant in their four tournament games. Not to say that Arizona's been underwhelming by any means, but they had to come back and beat Purdue by 15 in their Elite Eight game against Utah State. That game got a little hairy, despite the fact they ended up winning by 12 late in that one. And Michigan really has not had any stress in a second half game since the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, and I mean, Purdue was their biggest challenge there, and Purdue fought valiantly in
They
that
did.
one. It was weird to root for Purdue. That was a weird feeling for
That was
me, but
I didn't like. I took a shower after.
yeah, no, I've been showering, pretty much every 15 minutes since then, didn't care for it, but this Arizona Wildcats team, man, I mean, what is it, 2 losses on the season, 3 losses on the season? 2 losses,
Both by
2
single
yeah,
digits.
single digits. This is a well-rounded team built around some freshmen. You know, a lot of talk is gonna be about Burries, and a lot of talk is gonna be about Koa Pete. Those guys will both be NBA players, but I really like their point guard, senior Jaden Bradley, 6'3", 200 pounds, a New York kid who's just a ton of fun to watch. He's my favorite player on their team. He's a stud. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give him his flowers because we need to beat the hell out of him, but that's a real challenge for Elliot Cadeau.
Yeah, he was the Big 12 player of the year for a reason. And like again, it's not a stats driven award, very much like Yaxel Lendeborg. You have to watch the game to appreciate everything he brings to this team. And he's a gamer. Anytime it feels like this team needs a big shot, it's Bradley who they go to. He's the one that hit the shot in the Iowa State game in the Big 12 tournament to give them the win there. On paper, this game to me is very similar to Michigan, Alabama in the Rose Bowl during the national championship season, where the winner of this game is going to win the national championship. And that's not to disparage what's going on between UConn and Illinois especially another revenge game to get back at Michigan. But these are the two best teams in the country. They're built very similarly, and they're both led by veterans.
Yeah, man. And it'll be tough. Not only do you have the Bradley matchup, which is tough for Cadeau, maybe on defense, you need to find a way to put Gale or Burnett or somebody else on him when you
Lendeborg,
can. Or put Lindenborg on it, which has worked. I mean, we're big enough. Yeah, absolutely. It might be Lindenborg locking up Bradley, particularly in key moments. I could see something like that. But I am fascinated, particularly as an NBA draft guy, in Motiejus Krivas, their 7'2" center from
he's good.
Lithuania, against Mara, man. Now, he's older.
Mhm.
He's a junior. He's been around for a while, so he's got some of that grown man strength that Mara doesn't quite have yet. This will be the first time in a long time that I would say Mara's at a bit of a disadvantage in the paint, in the sense this guy's also 7'2", but he's got to have 30 pounds on him. Let's see here. I've got his weight listed here, and who knows if this is correct, but they've got him at 260. What do you think Mara's at, actually?
Mara, he's probably 240.
Yeah, I could see that. Probably, I mean, at 7'3", you
He's
have to,
listed at
they got him
250.
listed at 255. I don't buy that.
I don't think he's 255, but he's thicker than you realize. Like his arms are not as big, like his arms are a little longer, but he's got like a thick base, like in the hips. Like
Yeah.
he's thicker than people. And at 7'3", that weight's going to spread out. So like it's not going to be overwhelming. Like he's not just going to get dominated. It's not like you're going to get Shaquille O'Neal, but like it's very even footing. Like I'm fascinated to watch this game. Like normally I'm watching guards and wings a lot during the game. My eyes are going to be glued in the paint in this one because like that's
Same.
where this game is going to be decided. It's very old school. I mean,
Mhm.
Arizona is the best or at least most committed to paint team in the country. So like that's where the whole game is going to be decided. It's going to be in the paint, who can control the boards, control the glass, and stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, and Mojo, Mara, you wanna go play in the NBA next year? Here's your audition. This'll let you know where you're at, how far you gotta go, because Krivas will also be playing in the NBA next year. He's rising up draft boards, but, like, if you wanna be able to go into the NBA, you gotta go bang against Joel Embiid and freaking, like,
Well, Joel Embiid doesn't play, but maybe other players.
all right. Fair enough. Isaiah Hartenstein and
There you
guys
go.
like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, like guys that actually take the floor. And they're gonna be bigger than Krivas. So like you gotta go out there and hold your own. Mojo, you'll have to do it at some point because like
yep.
Mara, very interested to see like if he can stay out of foul trouble. Like foul
That's
trouble's been big in all these games, man. Something that you really monitor, particularly for our bigs. So if we can stay out of foul trouble and get their bigs, Pete and Krivas, in foul trouble early, I'm gonna feel much better about this game.
yeah. Arizona shoots the third most free throws per game of any team in the country. Like that's how they get a lot of it done. But that also is necessary for them to overcome a weakness, or I guess it's a perceived weakness in terms of style of play. Arizona is 360 out of 365 Division One teams in 3-point attempts per game. They only shoot
Crazy.
16 a game on average, and they only make six. So if you're looking for an edge for this Michigan team, you really look behind the 3-point line because I believe they've hit at least 10 or more threes in each of the last two games.
No, it's a great point. And the matchups we were looking at coming into this tournament was like St. Louis, Alabama. They put up a lot of threes. I mean, Alabama put up 47 threes.
It
That's
was gross. It
disgusting.
was gross.
That's
Yeah.
stupid, to be honest. Like, that's way too many. But this team is the exact opposite. They are the antithesis of Alabama. They don't want any of that. They want to bang down low. You would think that we have the guys to match that there. So I'd rather go up against a team like that and take our chances with our
Yeah.
forward and our center than go up against a team that can absolutely get red hot. I don't like going up against guys that can get their own shot that can just get absolutely hot. Both Burries and Bradley could do that, but Burries, man, true freshman. You know,
Big
that
spot.
that doesn't matter. There's been true freshmen that have come out in Final Fours and done amazing things before, but it's a little more rare than you'd think. I think you had that stat for us last week or a couple weeks ago of like top draft picks that actually go in and like are the best players in Final Four. It's more rare than you'd think. It's usually the older guys.
Yeah, the last time a future NBA All Star was the most outstanding player in the Final Four was Anthony Davis. And
Yeah, there it was. And I love that
it
stat.
only happened three times
And
in the
Anthony
20th
Davis is
century.
7'1, you know,
Yeah, it
Braden
was
Burries is 6'3.
AD, Kimba Walker, and Carmelo Anthony was the other one in this. So very fascinating to watch. But I do think if this team can frustrate or slow down Jaden Bradley in both their losses this year, they're back to back, Texas Tech and Kansas. He only had 17 points combined, and he was wildly inefficient, 4 of 14 and 2 of 8. So if you can frustrate him, get him off his game a little bit, start forcing his shot, that's going to be where a lot of this is decided on the perimeter. But to your point, man, I also love this matchup. Like I love it because the best team is going to win on Saturday. I don't see where there's a fluke in this game. Like we know who these two teams are. They're very committed to their identity. Now somebody could get hot, that always happens. But like these two teams are elite. They know what they're going to do. It's not going to be like a statistical outlier game like Alabama making 23s or anything like that or Wisconsin doing that. The best team's going to win on Saturday and it's like, all right, who's going to win? Strength on strength in the paint.
I'm with you, dude. Let's do something we usually do for football games, but I feel like this is noteworthy time here, and maybe we should do this for this basketball game. Let's do predictions, player of the game. Let's do swing player, and then give me just something to watch, maybe whatever it could be. And I can go first if you need a minute to think about it, since I'm springing this on
All
you.
right, all right, all right, all right. You lead the way.
I got it 74-71 Michigan. I think it's going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a 30-point win by Michigan. They're way too close talent wise. Arizona is a really good team.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to argue they've been the best team all year, start to finish, not going to push back too much. But if it's not them, it's Michigan. These are probably the best two teams in college basketball all year meeting up. I don't see anybody running away with it. Totally agree with you there. If you don't pick Yaxel Lendenborg here, I don't think you listen to the rest of this podcast. We've been talking about just how elite he's been. Definitely going to take him. I think he'll be the best player that takes the floor on Saturday. Now, something to watch in this one will be, like I mentioned earlier, foul trouble early. Is Krivas in foul trouble early? Well, what does that mean for Mara? Can Mara get going? Can we get some extra rebounds? Mara did not rebound the ball well against Tennessee. Mojo did a little bit, and we make up for some rebounding there. But Mara, you're going to need to be big, particularly if we can get them in foul trouble, and vice versa. If Mara's in foul trouble early, does that allow them to really just own the boards? Something to watch. Another thing to watch is who is guarding Bradley. Is it Cadeau? Do you start out with a Gale or a Jackson Lendenborg so he doesn't even see some shots go through the basket, so he doesn't even think this is going to be my kind of night there? So what does Dusty May do with that as well? Swing player in this one, Morez Johnson Jr. Been hot and cold in this tournament. Got to be a good mojo game. Cannot have another stinker like Alabama.
Everything you said is dead on. I think it's going to be very close, very similar score. I'm going Michigan a little bigger. I'm just thinking some free throws salted away, one or two possessions. I'm going with Michigan 85-77. So just over the threshold, keep them right there. They finally break their streak of 90-point games in this one. Arizona's too good, but it's going to be a battle throughout. I think it's going to be a very back and forth game. I think you're going to see runs either way. I think, again, player of the game, how could you go anywhere else than Yaxel Lindenborg? Because like
What are we
that's going to
doing?
be their biggest thing. Is like, all right, Koa Pete, you have to get out here and guard Yaxel. That's your test. So Godspeed, soldier. In terms of swing play, there's a lot of ways it could go. It feels like it really could be like a Cadeau type game where everyone's talking about Bradley, but Cadeau's the one that just quietly has 12 points and 9 assists, something like that. I like the Morez Johnson as well. But as much as everyone is talking about Arizona's depth and just building up their size, and they come at you in waves and things like that, I really think 3-point shooting in this game is going to be a factor because that's where Michigan's biggest advantage lies. I think they're talking about Arizona's freshman. I think it's Michigan's freshman that has a big moment. I think it's Trey McKinney. I think
Love
it's not,
this.
I don't think it's going to be like a crazy game or anything like that. But if he hits three threes in this game and has 15 points and a couple assists, that could be the difference.
Absolutely obsessed with this take. We haven't talked about McKinney enough on this podcast because he hasn't been putting up the numbers as some of these other guys. But McKinney provides something so invaluable, and we mentioned it last week. He comes in and has the green light and is not afraid
Nope.
and is a bucket getter. Now, that's about all he is right now. There's more in the bag. Like, I think that this is going to be a great player. Go ahead and pencil him in for my favorite player on next year's team right now. But he has absolute confidence. He will let it fly, and his shot looks amazing. He's a real shooter, man. And it's a great call because if he comes in and he's making some shots early, and it's like, oh, like is he gonna go 5 of 6 from downtown? That could easily make the difference in a game like this.
He was 3 of 5 from three against Alabama. He's shooting 47% from 3-pointer in the NCAA tournament. Also, a very subtle factor because both these teams are so experienced. This game's in Indianapolis. Michigan is going to
Mhm.
have a massive contingent at
They
this game.
better.
They had the advantage in Chicago. I think they're definitely going to have it here in Indianapolis. So I was a little worried about the United Center in Chicago with some of the 3-point shooting, especially early on against Alabama. Like, is this carrying over from the Big Ten tournament? Like, can we get different rims? So I feel like it's going to be better for them. It's going to be very comfortable, very at ease, nice, easy trip down the road. I think that's better for freshmen because as we know about freshmen and role players, they always tend to play better closer to home.
Great call out there. My cousin hit me up about going to the Final Four. Tickets not as bad as you'd think. I mean, like $600 get in price. I mean, that's obviously a very large number, but I mean, compare that to the national championship game. It's about 3 times that.
And I love Indianapolis personally. It's a small city. It's super walkable. There's tons of places to stay. There's enough stuff to do. It's like you can easily get in and around. Now, the Final Four is like a viewing venue, kind of sucks because like
Yeah.
it's way down there on a football field. It's hard to see. Some seats can be bad. But I honestly just going, hanging out, going to a bar with some Michigan fans might be the move.
You and I are not as big. Like for these kind of games, we need to be in a safe environment, need to be able to text the group chat, take some notes for the podcast.
Huff
Like
some
I'll go
glue.
see a little bit of glue huff in there, never gonna hurt you. I mean, I will happily go to Michigan, Purdue,
Yep.
middle of the season, things like that. But once it gets into tournament time, I'm too much of a nervous wreck, man. You wouldn't want me in person for that game.
We've done Michigan, Ohio State before, and it's like it's tough. It takes
Those,
some
yeah, those are
years.
the biggest ones.
You
Yeah.
take some years off your life in those environments. But yeah, you got to have the home court, got to have all the rituals done. I have a baby shower that morning for my son, so I've been obviously going to that. But then it's like,
Skip that one.
can't skip that one. So obviously have that going on in the morning. But like, yeah, I'm just be thinking about the Michigan game all day. like obviously wearing my Michigan gear. Like I should have made that mandatory for everyone to attend. But
Yes.
like, yeah. But then going back home, like people invited us out afterwards. Like, no. Like I have to be safe place. I need home field advantage for this one. Got to lock in for the game. But honestly, this game might call for an emergency pod afterwards, depending on how it
Very well
goes.
could. Very
Like
well
this could
could.
be
If we
it.
win this one, yeah, I'll be standing by for that. Totally reasonable. Now, if we win, you might also want to go out. Might be a dangerous night to be a beer if we find a way to win. Because, like you said, if we win this one, the odds of us winning it all are excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. I mean, I'm not going to pencil it in quite like I did against Washington, but I might be like, just lightly scribbling it, like putting the dotted lines of where I'm going to
Uh-huh.
pencil it in. I'm going to be thinking about it.
It's going to look good on there. Now you do worry about this game taking too much on too much of a toll on the winner going in.
Mhm.
And if the other game is a blowout, if Illinois runs them off the court or something like that. But I believe that these are the two best teams, and whoever wins this game wins it all.
I'm with you, brother. These are the good times, as you mentioned. Celebrate the fact that we're here. Don't be content. It ain't over yet. It's time to start thinking, why not us? And to quote Jake, what is his name from Major Leagues? Oh my God, what's the name of the catcher?
Jake Taylor.
Jake Taylor. I guess there's only one thing left to do: win the whole fucking thing.
It's all there's left to do, brother. Let's get it.
Let's get it. As we sit right now, Michigan women down 11, 23
Fighting.
34.
They're fighting though.
Fighting. I mean, within 11, that's striking distance.
Yeah,
That's striking distance.
they scored up. They evened them out in the second quarter, 12 points apiece. So the Michigan defense is picked back up. They've been a second team all year. So this game is not over.
So by the time this podcast comes out, you'll know what happened in that game. Keep an ear and an eye out for potential emergency pods should we win against Arizona. I think that there's a very good chance that that would make some sense. Man, this has been a fun run, brother. It's been a fun run, as fun a run as I can remember. And we've seen some great runs. We have had a really fortunate time with this men's basketball team that if we make the tournament, you can all but assure we're getting to the Sweet 16. But now we're into that elite territory. Banners are hung. Nets have come down. Only one thing left to do, and that's win it all, man. Very excited for this. It's been a blast.
Yeah, I've been saying it all season, and now this ending really solidifies that this is my favorite Michigan basketball team that I've ever personally covered. My favorite team of the 20th century, like or 21st century, just to enjoy what they've brought game in and game out, the story, everything. Now we'll reminisce in the off season, but just keeping that in mind because like we're not always going to have teams like this. Just 2 years ago, we won 8 games.
8 games.
In an entire season, and this team is 2 games away from winning 6 in the NCAA tournament.
I was going to say, we're almost matching that win total in the tournament. You
Yes.
had the Big Ten tournament. We're there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good stuff, brother. All right, that's going to do it for Out of the Blue. Thank you to producer Tony. Please like, share, subscribe, share our stuff. We do have something finally coming. I'm not going to give it out yet. That I owe some of our listeners. That'll be coming here soon as we start to kind of look into Michigan football, at least for the spring. Obviously not ready to get there quite yet, but spring game draft is 2 weeks away. So do not forget about that. We will be pushing that one to you. That'll be a fun episode for us. That's going to do it. I am Jared. That is Andy. This is Out of the Blue. And we'd like to remind you that wherever you go, particularly when the Wolverines are in the Final Four, you go blue.